I got the land cleared up. Those few cool days helped me get the garden clean there. So I went ahead and took care of the shrubs that I wanted to do some maintenance on. So we started up on the west side of the sunny plot, and that's where we go with this video. Hope you enjoy it. I was sick yesterday and spent all day in bed. It was 20 degrees Celsius when I got up, 6:30 this morning. But there's thunder showers trying to come in. That's keeping the temperature down a bit. The humidity now is up like crazy. This doesn't take very long. It's just a matter of getting to it, right? Like I said in an earlier video, you can't bring the weed eater right up to it. You can't mow right up to it with the lawnmower. But when the trees are really young and the grass is growing right up to them like that, they don't grow as well. So you basically just have to sit down beside it, and that's what you do. This one, the main problem with this is getting underneath with the lawnmower. I couldn't do it very well, and I don't know exactly where the roots in that are. Now by rights, I need something to hold these up like this, don't I? And maybe just a stone will do that. I have these couple of stones. Let's see how well that does. There's that one. Maybe put that one off a bit. Now, I can go in there with the lawnmower, but I think I'm going to put a piece of cardboard down there. At any rate, I'm going to take out the lawnmower now. It hasn't rained yet. I'm going to mow up some of the meadow and put mulch around these two that I just cleared. And a bag full of clippings from the mower. That's that one. Now I got a bunch to go around this one. Now that'll settle down pretty fast. I know I've got it out over where the grass is still growing, but eventually, as I clear out bit by bit and putting mulch there, I'll move the grass back bit by bit. The sun came out, the temperature went up to 32 degrees. The humidity was still 52, which gives you a humidex of 40 degrees Celsius. I was not going to be working in that. So I went back inside and done some work inside. There's stinging nettles growing up here. I want to show you something. So you see this caterpillar here? There's several of them on this stinging nettle. The small tortoiseshell butterfly. It's an orange butterfly with black spots, and pretty much exclusively the caterpillar portion feeds on stinging nettles. When you're pulling up stinging nettles, pull them straight on from the root, and then it'll break right down by the root. You might sometimes get up the root and all. So I'm going to have to move this curtain back here now, out of the way. I'm hoping I don't sting myself badly. Now you see, it didn't take very long at all. And now I'll go get some clippings and put around that bush. Can lift up this side. It's leaning out that way, I guess, because that's where most of the sun comes from. Now, this will be the last here. And hopefully that'll do it. There's clippings put all the way around there now. I don't know if I should put some kind of a fence thing up to hold up those canes or not. Rose bushes. Their canes need to be removed every once in a while. I think it's 3 years they do their best. But look at this one. It's dead. I did some maintenance on this rose bush. I believe it was like 2015 now. Up to about 7 years, they'll bear fairly well. And then they're starting looking really ratty. So this rose bush now is going to be, I would say, cut way back. But of course, especially, see, this one was dead as of last year. This one is dying as of this year. And it'll be looking worse and worse right now if I don't get at it. Don't forget, you'll need a good thick pair of gloves and good sharp, for the most part, hand pruners will do. There might be some canes big enough that I'll have to get the loppers for. And glasses. You're looking down low, and that's where your attention is leaning in. You could get poked in the eye. You need at least safety glasses. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get the loppers right away. I'm going to leave it at that for now. There's a couple suckers over the other side I have to pull off. And I had to pull up this grass. Now you can see most of the canes here are new canes. And these, they're still quite young. So I'll leave those. You see, similar to raspberries, eh? Well, a bunch of old canes grows up in the middle, and then you get shoots coming out around outside, and it will sucker in nice ways out too, and the clump will grow bigger and bigger. But now that I've cut them old canes out of the center, new canes can now grow up where the old canes were, and you can keep a healthy rose bush contained in the one area. And what I'll do now is I'll take all of these that I cut down and I'll run them through the chipper and then bring them back there as mulch. So not quite enough mulch. I got this mulch there, and when I chip up some more branches I have to put some out right here. But that's good. This should be about right to give you a before and after. This rose bush has been tended to at a later year than the other one, so there's not much really old stems in there. But most importantly, I want to show you about this. See, it's got a sucker right out here and one growing here. So this is what I was saying about when I was doing the other rose bush. This here, once again, is a sucker growing out from where I don't want it to grow. I want to cut this down. That's for the St. John's wort, so this has got to go, even though it's a brand new rose bush. Now I do have see that old stock there, but now something like this, see, it's a couple of years old, but I won't cut this because this is still quite healthy. I'll just wait until it goes really brown and is looking something like this, right? Because this one was cut higher before, but there was a brand new, this was like light green when I actually cut this. So I'll look it over and see. This one, I don't know if you can tell, it's starting to get some lichen on it. That's what the light spots are. So that is a fairly old one, and this is what I'm saying. It gets older and then you start to get diseases in it, and if you get an infestation, that's the first place that a bug infestation will go, is to these old canes, and then they'll spread to the young ones for a while, and then you've got a really ugly looking mess on your hands. For want of a better spot to put you, I'll put you out right there. I'll first take off those couple of really old ones that I find. Gloves. This one's not too bad, but it's hanging out in the way, so this is why I'm going to cut it back. That's all I'm going to do with that. These are hard to handle with a glove like this on. So now I'll just take the small ones and I'll cut these suckers off ground level. Now if I was wanting to clone this bush, I could actually dig down to the main root here, cut the root, dig this up, and move it to wherever I wanted another rose bush. But it's not on my radar to extend the number of rose bushes I have, so I'm just going to cut them down to ground level. See, this one I'm going to keep into a nice tight little group in there, and anything that spreads out further I'll keep it all cut back, and you'll have just say a foot in diameter circle on the bottom, and then spread out a bit up top here. There, that was quick. Now, what do we have to say about these forsythia? COVID cough. You notice how this is hanging over that way? I don't think it has to do with the shade, because, I mean, we're 20 feet from the house. Might be a little less. But the prevailing winds, and if we get strong winds, they usually come down from this direction. So I'm thinking that that is the biggest reason why the trees lean this way. This one's not so bad because he's up beyond the corner of the house, so he gets a lot different directions of wind. But he is noticeably leaning this way as well. That's one of the things that I would like to figure out, is how I would go about pruning this so that it looks more sensible. Now, originally back in 2001 or something, this was just one small clump trying to survive down by the front step where the Shasta daisies are. And I dug it up, split it in half, and planted them to here. In 2015, that one was much, much bigger than this one. And it took me about 3 years to actually get it into somewhat of a normal, somewhat of a looking about the same size. But still, this one leans quite a lot. Of course, one of the things is that they're leaning out here, and it's just leaning way out over the bed, and when I'm mowing here, this is too far. So cutting it back for that reason is one of the things. And I think I need to kind of open it up so that the branches aren't all brushing together, because that's what's causing this. And then you get a long branch come out, there's no leaves on it because it's always blowing back, beating like this, you see. And so then you get all these stalks here. So how to cut out stuff so that it doesn't have that bare branches. You basically got to work your way into them because it's all just a mat of branches, eh? This one I got a real serious crossing over, similar to what you would prune out if you're doing a fruit tree. Completely crossed there. But these come up straight from the ground. So if you're going to prune out something like that, if you can trace it down, you see, similar to a willow, now you've got a nice long thing that you can do wattle fencing or whatever you would, a lot of the crafts that you do with the willows. You see? So that is one nice use of that. You can occasionally cut them out. Now I'm looking at something in here. Yeah, this is something you can do too. So now you see this is a really old cane. So I can trace these to the bottom and cut them out just for the sake of for the sake of having all healthy canes here. But the other thing is, if you're wanting to keep this thing low, as I said, most of the shoots are coming up from the ground. So you really need to get in and just cut out the old canes because they're the tallest ones. Of course, I'll need the loppers for that. This is a bed that gets stepped on once in a while. I don't know how quickly these decompose, but it is very nice from the look of it. It will be nice to use this for garden stakes. Guess this one's going to get rejuvenated too. Now I don't want to cut it way back. Because I don't know if this bush will be damaged if you cut it back too much. Like the rose bush, you can cut that just right off and it will come back. But I don't know what this one would do. That's why it took me 3 years to get that one down to proper size, because I was like, don't know what it will do if I just cut it off at the base, or if I took too much out. See, the garden is getting to the point now that I can actually start to tend to individual things. I'm not really pushing to get as much production out of it as I need to. So I'm going to leave that like that and see how it grows back, and then probably it'll be next year before I cut out. There's some other hold canes in there. I'll cut out some more hold stuff, and until it's at the state where I can keep it looking beautiful. Now I have to deal with this one. Of course, this one is leaning way out. Sometimes they grow up, and sometimes they come out and they just curve right down. You do see what I was talking about though. Up on this side, we've got this hollow going into the tree, and so everything is growing that way. I don't know why that is. But maybe I'll take out this large cane here. Yeah, there's a couple large canes there that I'll take out, and that'll take off most of this part that's leaning out this way. So here's another thing I do with these. You see? So I got this is an old cane going out here. I want to cut off, but I've got this one growing, and it's growing straight up. So that will give the tree, the bush, some vertical height without it being falling over and looking all droopy. So what I'll do is I'll cut this branch off right here. That's a prime example of one that grew up long and slinky and just laid over on the ground. See that? Which is another thing I'm thinking about, that if I occasionally open this up so that light can get in, the individual canes may not grow as long and slinky as that, and they might not do that flop over as much. Now, I couldn't get at the base very well when I started this back in 2015. So there's a bunch of dead stuff in the center there that I'm going to try to get out. Now this one hasn't gone very far, so I'm going to leave that one there and see if it will actually, now that I've cleaned these out, see if it will actually stand up. Or is it gone too far now and that's just going to grow like that. The other one, see, didn't get as big as this one. When I tried to cut it back, I left some of them longer because they had greenery up on them. But now the whole center is just dying out and stuff growing up around it. You see now, the center here is all hollowed out. But in time we'll get this back looking nice again. I can bring you back here now. You can see it's all standing nice, it's not interfering with those other plants down underneath. You're sitting about level right there, so that's the slope on the ground, on the land that you see there. I just heard some rumblings of thunder, so the sky might open up on us anytime at all now. This is the last bush I want to do something with. It is getting, and I've mentioned it several times, it's getting to be falling out in the way. It's a currant bush, and I'm thinking that if we cut it back and keep it in a good shape, because it produces abundantly, so you don't really need to let it grow really huge. Plus, it's probably better, I think, to have two smaller ones that you keep kind of their shape controlled, and then that'll be easier to both harvest the berries and mow around them, mulch around them, whatever. It's coming. Despite the webbing on here, I'll clean that off, but see all the berries, I'm going to bring these actually into the house and pick the berries off in there in the comfort. So I just need to get this cleaned up now before the rain starts. And I'm just cutting back because I don't know how a currant bush reacts to being pruned. So I'll just shape it and I'll find out how the growth comes back, and then next year I'll know better on how to actually prune this thing. Now up here I'm just taking out older canes as well. Anything that's got a lot of young growth on it, I'm leaving that in. Down around the base now, I want to clear that all off because it was basically just getting in the way, and the vegetation is growing out quite some distance from the base of it. Was being covered by all the branches just hanging right down on the ground, even without the fruit on it. See, we'll ignore those few tent caterpillars there. I think that looks alright. I'll give you a little spin around it now and I'll show you. So you can see now down at the bottom, I have it cleared out. And there's no branches hanging right down, you see. These are wild raspberries, eh? There's some berries left on there, but I'll come back. I'll see how many I get now when I clean these branches off. But yeah, I think that's alright. And that'll be the maintenance of all the bushes for this year. It was stinking hot though. The prunings that I took from this one, I got 2.67 kilograms of currants off them. There's a few currants left. We'll see what they do next year. And hey, I might come out and pick the rest of them. There's not really a whole lot left. But most of the shrubs are taken care of. And so that's lovely. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button if you did. Leave whatever comment you'd like, and I'll see you in the next one.